Yeah, dude, I definitely think the intention's big there. And
Yeah.
it's tough because of how we've pushed it, like when the early divers were there, they were touching everything. And then we're like, okay, let's teach everyone to dive. And then everyone's kind of a moron and touching everything. And we're like, okay, don't touch anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I mean, we could act like we're total flies on the wall, but we're also down there. So we do have to interact a little. Made some good necklaces.
That's pretty cool.
But I had to find something stretchy, so I could take it off. Well, actually, I don't take these off when I dive, but
Yeah, it's awesome. Hey guys, it's Ed, your Minister of Adventures, and this is Divers Getting Coffee, featuring divers sharing diverse experiences across the ocean tribe. Let's go. Hey Mike, how's it going?
really good, man. Give me 1 second here.
No worries.
Yeah.
Right on, right on.
How you feeling, dude?
Good, how are you? Cheers to Thursday, Friday
Yeah.
Eve. So how's Florida today? What's going on?
It's looking pretty good.
Yeah, that's
A
awesome.
little windy and chilly, but I don't know. My body adapted pretty quickly to the Florida weather.
Yeah. Are you from Florida originally?
Nah, I'm from Delaware.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
I lived there up in Philly one time, King of Prussia area, then I think Westchester for a little bit, but Pennsylvania, that area.
No, I know it well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, man, glad we got a chance to connect, and glad we're here talking, and looking forward to a ton of more collaborations out there, man. It's a great world. It's a wonderful world we live in today, where we get to connect with so many people across the oceans, across great distances, and meet up and do cool things together, right?
Yeah, dude, it's pretty nuts. Especially someone you got a whole little setup going on. Makes everything a little easier.
Yeah, just trying to keep it going, Started out as a random IG live, hey, let's get talking, and now we're just talking and talking and diving together too. I was just in Florida like Thanksgiving. Yeah, just after Thanksgiving or right before. Gnarly swells you guys out there, man.
What part of Florida were you in?
I stayed in Miami, but I went diving in Key Largo, Fort Lauderdale, and Jupiter.
Dang, man. Nice.
Yeah, the swells are no joke. Well, welcome aboard, Mike. Is it Mike Healy or Mike O'Healy?
Mike Healy. The
Mike
O
Healy.
is my middle initial.
Gotcha. That's fine. Well, welcome aboard, Mike. Let's get it going. So, I'm recording the whole thing, and I can edit out later on, but it's basically free flowing, casual. Keep it going. See how it goes. First, want to get to know you as a diver. Wrap up the introduction in a second. Um, then I've got a couple questions for you. Sheepdog dive team. You guys are crazy. I've been watching your videos and I'm like, what? But it's cool. It's cool. And I've got a lot of questions about like the shark tooth you got on your neck, and we'll get to that in a minute.
All right, cool. I brought
And
some extras too.
nice. And there's some videos I want to watch. I want you to watch and just see how you react to it and see what's going on. But any questions for me? Anything you want to call out before we get into it?
Nah, man. Let's rock. Besides, is that like a specific brand you got, that Spaceman? Because I watched one of your podcasts and you had a painting behind you too.
Yes, I have. My fascination for diving probably started before I started diving. It probably started with astronauts, and yeah, a lot of my this one is a specific brand, Into the AM. Pretty much all my t-shirts are from them. But around me, I also just have astronauts and divers, mostly astronauts specifically. So I just have a weird fascination for, and that's
I
how I think about diving too. It's like you're underwater. fairly zero gravity, and you can pretty much move in all directions. It's like being in space. So we're kind of
Yeah.
astronauts, right?
Well, I actually think like underwater should be our next frontier, not outer space.
We know a lot about outer space, more than we've found out about what's underwater so far. So why
But it's
not,
right
right?
here. Like it's like we don't have to figure out that gravity thing of how to get out of the atmosphere. Like we just have to figure out how to breathe for longer.
For longer, yeah. Deal with the pressure. Deal with yeah. There's so much we really haven't uncovered, but yeah. Well, that's why
Um,
we're doing this, right?
yeah, that's what I'm trying to focus. Like, be like, yo, let's look down there. Like, I mean, up there is cool, but like,
What else is down here? We've got bioluminescent fish with jagged teeth that snap bones in a fun times. Well, let's get it going. Mike Healy, welcome aboard. Scuba instructor with Naui, dive master with Patty, conservationist. Did I just conservationist? Um, and you mentioned something about how you're into breathing. Um, what do you mean by that? That got me curious. Like, what do you
yeah. Well, I had asthma as a kid, and then I was playing rugby in college. I was always pretty average at sports just because of my stamina.
mean?
And my buddy gives me this book called The Oxygen Advantage, and he's like, breathe through your nose, breathe light and slow, and understand that carbon dioxide is the thing that stimulates your urge to breathe, not your need for oxygen. So he kind of proposed that people as a as a country, as a planet, we're kind of over breathing and like taking in too much oxygen, and we have
Interesting.
bad levels of carbon dioxide. Um, we're not comfortable with high levels of carbon dioxide. So it was kind of a pattern of breathing that shifted everything, helped me understand how I was breathing. I totally stopped coughing like in 1 week and just like don't cough anymore. It's kind of, when you kind of start coughing, you make it worse by coughing more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it just totally switched up my rugby stamina. But what was weird was I was getting scuba certified in college at this time as I was reading this book. So I'm like pissed off that I'd have to go into a pool and like practice breathing through my mouth. But I think it's, yeah, I mean, and like the breath control is all scuba. So like it's made me now on these higher levels a way better diver, a way better free diver. And now the dude has an application, a website and all that good jazz, and an opportunity to take the concepts and be like a coach. So, I'm going through a little course to try and teach that. Because, I mean, we take millions of breaths a day. And if it's kind of off, then that's like taking a million steps a day where your foot is like angled at the wrong way. And it's just going to compound and make things worse over time.
That's crazy. I actually never really thought about it as your the initial need to take a breath is really more of a reflex than you know the fact that it's like hunger. Like your body can go without food for days and days, but mostly you just get the urge to eat because it's kind of wired into the DNA. That's a great point. Well, that's why it's good to have you, Mike. Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Instructor, dive master, free diver, passionate about the ocean, passionate about cleaning up the ocean. Um, New angle on breathing, both for diving and outside and just being active. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, bro. You do
It's
any free diving yourself?
not a lot, not a lot. I have a I have a unrealistic fear, a phobia, not a fear. It's just I just feel like I can't stay down for that long, and I've never really gone to try to, uh, you know, try to do a course to actually get trained properly to do it, or focus on my breathing as much as I need to. So it's been on the bucket list, but I go freediving from time to time, but to really go to greater depth, stay down longer, I should probably do some training to work my way up to that. It's just something I we'll get to at some point. So it's mostly
Yeah,
just been scuba diving.
it's like an activity, you know, like it's hard
Hmm.
to make time for it unless it's a priority.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you get into diving? You mentioned just now you started when you were in college, right?
Yeah, they had open water and an advanced. At the time, the guy goes, "Oh, we have an advanced class next semester." I was like, "Advanced." Like, you know, like I don't know if I just did. I thought I was going to be the most elite scuba diver, but I mean, dude, I don't know. Like that training, like taking what 12, 16 weeks times two. Like we took our final test in the advanced class in neutral buoyancy,
Wow.
and like now I see so many divers, and even like a lot of the sheepdogs, like they're overweighted and just like bouncing off the bottom, and I'm like, guys, like let me train you, like it.
Yeah, because it takes a lot of having everything come together. Your buoyancy, just staying calm, getting weighted right, things like that to get the best out of the limited supply of air that you have underneath. And like one of my pet peeves, seeing people underwater. One of my biggest pet peeve. I know it takes time to probably ramp up to it. Is seeing people do this. I
Yeah,
just can't. I can't. I'm like, no, stop, stop.
take a moment and just like slow down. Yeah,
Hmm.
he's like
And
micro.
and I see this with a lot of new divers, coming in. And honestly, I did it myself. I got into diving, and I feel like, oh, I need to capture everything I see in the water. And I go in the water, and first I'm doing this, and then I'm zigzagging my camera. Like, what? Just drop the camera, relax, get like 50, 60, 80 dives, and really get the groove of things, so that it becomes very second nature to you, and then you could extend to photography or whatever it is, whatever else you want to do. But at that point, you're not going to be paddling like shit terrier. But anyways, that's I talk I ramble off sometimes. The sheepdog dive team, what's that about?
Dude, so I work for Venice Dive Center and Venice Dive Charter on their boat. And, you know, casual, we get a lot of people, they haven't dove in years, and, you know, it's whatever. This guy comes up one morning shirtless and he's just like on fire, just like talking, like making fun of people. It's like, can I get a video? And he's like, what up, Sheepdog Dive Team? Like, I'm here with Venice and blah, blah, blah. Just a character, like, has me like kick him off the boat to do his entry. Like, just like, you know, like, so it turns out he's like a retired cop, state trooper. He moved to Florida in Daytona, and there are all these like kids with these bad homes, you know, drugs, missing fathers, and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, dude, like I got to do something for these dudes. So him and a few guys kind of just got together, started taking them diving, not scuba, but like just like free dive in a spring or breathe off a regulator, you know, in shallow water. And he also skateboards as like a 56-year-old dude picking up skateboarding. And but yeah, occasionally he'll organize a trip and we'll go over to like Blue Heron Bridge or something and just kind of hang out and make up some stunts to do, just like some fun action shots, and it's
That's
good
pretty
stuff.
cool. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna share my screen here, and I think everybody needs to see this. Check them out if you're seeing this. Where is my screen? Okay. When you're seeing this, check them out at Sheepdog Dive Team. And warning: the next footage I'm going to show is uh, a little sensitive. So, but it's pretty cool. You guys have all these cool things going on. He's got like the mentorship is pretty cool. But this image, when I saw this, I'm like, what? So he shows up all bloodied and starts up with tagged by a great white shark diving in the barrier reef. I'm like, what? it's, he's all bloody and everything. And I read, and then it's about he had a skateboarding accident, but just the fact that he gets hurt and his instinct is like, yeah, I'm just gonna talk about this all bloodied up, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy, but it was
Dude,
cool.
he is a character from outer space, man. He's so awesome. Just incredible energy from that guy, and just really brings the whole like brother energy, like have a good time and connect with people, and that's what it's all about. It's
Abs-
really good to be around.
Absolutely. A lot of carp diem. It's pretty good. Just that's pretty cool. At Sheepdog Dive Team. That's awesome. I just had to show that. And then so you live in Venice, right? And you work with an operation out there, but I've seen you dive on the other side in like Fort Lauderdale and Key Largo and stuff. So you've been quite a few places in Florida, right?
Yeah, the Venice dive scene is kind of one track. It's we're in like 30 feet of water.
Hmm.
Visibility is between like 2 and 10 feet, and we dive solo, which is it was totally new to me. Like I got my dive master, and then like a week later, I meet up with this guy. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna go dive," and I'm diving by myself, and it's not by the book. I'm like, "Holy shit, like, this is crazy." But yeah, there's nothing to look at besides these teeth and stuff. So me and my lady, like to go to the springs or over the East Coast, and that's beautiful over there. There's just a reef right off the beach. It's like crystal clear water. It's like unbelievable.
That's awesome. There are parts of Florida that um, going on. Well, actually, when I was there a couple months ago or last month, the swells on top are crazy. But for that time of the year, just to, pick any random place anywhere around Fort Lauderdale to like Key Largo, and you go down by like 30, 40 feet, you start seeing really cool visibility. Like you're seeing all the way down to like the bottom of the Spiegel Grove or like 131 from like, you know, 80, 90 from 100 feet. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good for a regular,
Crazy.
just it's in my backyard kind of thing.
Yeah, I dove that. So you dove that wreck too? I think I was down there about a year ago.
Yeah.
Pretty,
That was the first one I dove when I got to Florida. The Spiegel. It's pretty cool. It's kind of been
yeah,
on my list for a while actually.
pretty nuts to see just like something like that big and just like in kind of just like a large bathtub when the
Mm-hmm.
visibility is that good. And it's just like I don't know if you ever read Shadow Divers. You heard of that book?
Shadow Divers, no, I am going to look that up. No, not doesn't ring a bell really. No.
Uh,
What's it about?
John Chatterton and Richie Kohler, they discovered this unnamed German U-boat in like 250 feet of water. I might get that number wrong. Off the coast of New Jersey, many years ago,
Oh
and
wow.
it was just like a super good book explaining like diving, wreck diving, like so many different aspects of it. And I read this before college, so I was like, I've been wanted to get certified in dive or wreck for so many years. So to see that one be my first one, I was like, it's pretty ideal.
And it feels that much more what's the word I'm looking for? Just magnificent when you can see well actually you can't see the full length of the wreck, but you see a good amount of it and you're just floating there feeling so little next to this huge piece of fairly mangled metal and coral, and it's pretty good because there's out here in San Diego. There's a wreck alley with a few, three, four, maybe decent sized wrecks. One of them is the HMS Yukon, about 350 feet, 310, just over 300 feet. But the viz is usually never good enough that you can see a good portion of it. You pretty much see where you are and maybe 20 feet out. But you go down to the Spiegel and you just all you see is wreck. That feels very different.
Yeah, dude. It's
That's
sick.
awesome. Now there are no wrecks in Venice, but there are a lot of shark teeth. I
Yeah,
hear. How many of those do you have? And wait, before you go forward, you found mammoth teeth the other day.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
please, I want to hear this.
Under the radar because I didn't get the fossil permit totally set in, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. You didn't hear that here. That never happened.
No, but
We're talking shark teeth.
a great video of another charter. They found a mammoth tusk. So like it was like
Wow,
7 feet long, and they had the whole video of the operation of them salvaging, bringing it up, and trying to restore it and everything. But yeah,
it's
there's a lot of stuff: horse teeth, whale teeth, shark teeth.
wow. And you found the one you have in your neck. You found that in the ocean, right?
Yeah, after months of visualizing it, just being like, I want this mako tooth.
Wow, that's
Yeah, man.
crazy. Um, I'm not remembering correctly, but I know like when you find them in the wild, and it's from either recently dead, deceased, or more than likely sharks that have been gone for quite a while. They are more of the darker tone like that. And but if it's stuff like, because I was reading something about how to watch out for either fake teeth in sketchy markets, or teeth from sharks that were recently killed and poached, for like shark fins and stuff like that. And what I heard was the ones that are recently been, taken from the sharks are usually more ivory, more white, right? So that one you have on is the darker tone. That shark could have been dead for a couple million years or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. The white ones, you're right on with that. The white ones are like not like live, or like they're recently
Which,
dead, whatever. And these are like fossilized, so they've been
wow.
there for a very long time.
Yeah, pretty much. They've been kind of like they're now basically fossils. You're wearing stuff that was here probably when I don't know, megalodon used to be here or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
That's
I got the So the way it all worked is Florida used to be underwater, and then it wasn't, and then certain parts of it were land, and then it was land, and then not land.
back.
So that's why we
Hmm.
find horse teeth next to where there's shark teeth. Uh, but then yeah, once just how all the science worked out, and that's what I like about it is like, okay, there were sharks here, but then like how did their teeth get to where I'm finding it right now in the water?
Right.
And it's like a whole different science of like, well, the storm came and like blew this sand like away, and then so like this area will have more teeth, and then this area where we used to find teeth, we don't find them here anymore because there's just too much sand over top of it.
Wow.
And like so this one, like,
Whoa. Whoa.
yeah,
Whoa.
it was like, it was all I could see was this, and it was kind of like bumped up, and it was like right underneath the surface, just lying there like that. It was pretty nuts. Like, and this other one was just sitting straight out, right next to another tooth. But these are both 5 inches, which is like, they get up to 6 inches, but those are super rare. 5 inches. I mean,
But
I have two of them, so like,
and that's a tooth, right? Or those are
I'm,
teeth.
yeah. So they would sit in the mouth like that.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty nuts. But they're not good for much. They're good relics.
Yeah. Just kind of, you know, relics basically.
Yeah, but they're cool, man.
That's
I mean,
pretty cool.
I got a bag full of the small ones.
Whoa. That's are
It
you have you ever tried dating any of them to like that came out weird. Like, carbon dating them to see how old or how long ago they've been under
I
there?
did send one mammoth tooth to a buddy who was gonna get college by him to check it out, but I never got anything back about that.
Oh, probably had to go to the past to verify that. Travel back
Yeah.
in time. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. Um, that's an amazing thing to experience, underwater. You go. Now, I guess the next thing that comes to mind for me is what are your thoughts on I don't want to preface that with naive, but what are your thoughts on people that go on the common knowledge of, oh, you can never, ever, ever, ever touch anything underwater?
I think these don't really fall under that category. I
Yeah.
mean, we definitely run into some issues because you are taught, like, if this is the bottom, you're up here and you're looking, and we teach them to be down here and dive by themselves and touch everything. I don't, if there's coral and like sea life, I don't just like pick up sea urchins and throw them like that. Um, but I'm touching rocks and lots of dead stuff. But occasionally I do pick up some live stuff, which is tough for me being how I am with conservation. And so, but honestly, I'm not an expert on it, so it's hard to know.
Yeah, I'm no expert either, but I've always just had the mentality of finding balance. Like you said, it's not about. I know a lot of the don't absolutely ever touch anything comes from trying to discourage folks that go and just yank coral aside and chase the corner turtles trying to get a photo or things like that. But I've always been, and I've always, well, over time, I started to look at it more of as a thing that, look for balance. Like relics like this, they're there. They're actually kind of cool. Like we go into the woods and we pick up things that seem to be cool. And if it's not hurting anything in life or displacing or disturbing the ecosystem in any way, well, why not? But, and even touching live animals, I think when there's a certain amount of respect, when it's done with, respect for the animal and the diver has gained a little bit of trust, because we go in the wild and yeah, I'm not just going to walk into a lion's den and hope nothing happens. But even if I'm diving with sharks, if it comes close enough, I may have to like, push it, guide it in a certain direction. Or if that connection feels like it's there, touch it in a certain way that doesn't make it seem aggressive or injure the animal or the diver in each case. So I think it's about finding balance in for the most part using common sense, right? Which is what caused me to ask this, because some folks are just it's like a blind here, you never do this, and you just kind of folks just don't question why. Like, what was the original intention? Like, and as a diver, how are you doing it? Are you just going in and smacking coral, or are you respectfully going around the environment and being one with it and connecting with it in a way that's different?
Yeah, dude, I definitely think the intention's big there. And
Yeah.
it's tough because of how we've pushed it, like when the early divers were there, they were touching everything. And then we're like, okay, let's teach everyone to dive. And then everyone's kind of a moron and touching everything. And we're like, okay, don't touch anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I mean, we could act like we're total flies on the wall, but we're also down there, so we do have to interact a little bit.
Yeah. And whatever we do, whether it's skydiving or exploring space or diving, at the end of the day, humans are out there for interaction and connection, whether it's physically, understanding things a little bit more. It's just about finding the right balance, I think. And that's great. As a conservationist yourself, you do a lot of work in that space. So what you got going on with that lately?
Yeah, dude, that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out, Like I did the standard thing of every time I see trash while I'm down there, I pick it up, so I usually end up with a handful of stuff. I think I mentioned that I work for that nutrition company and they're going plastic free this year, so that'll cut down a lot on what I'm doing. And just, your standard try and use less stuff. I don't eat out a lot, so I'll just throw all my vegetables in a bag that I bought and then kind of make a mess when I lay it out on the conveyor belt. But I don't know. It just seems crazy to me to like throw vegetables in a plastic bag that is just going to be thrown out and that's put in a plastic bag that is all thrown out, like I just watched that documentary Plastic Ocean. And you seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's very informative.
Yeah.
It's amazing how everything adds up, and you think, oh yeah, it's just one little piece of plastic, but you go down, follow the chain downstream, and there are just huge patches out there. You know,
It, it's everywhere, dude. And like as a dude who's actively trying to avoid it, I can't. So think of all the people that are like, don't care at all.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm trying. That's why I've been connecting, just like shooting messages to other divers, trying to, because like there's like scientists and like people who know so much more than me, who I'm trying to learn from. I'm just a dude doing my small part, kind of just bringing awareness and using my own two hands. But I'm trying to join forces to see how to make a bigger impact for sure.
Absolutely. And it definitely pays off. And that's the great part about how we connect, just social media, the kind of connectivity we have now. We can share ideas, brainstorm, and join forces with people, that don't necessarily have to be down the street from us. Actually, thinking about it, I think you and Caitlin McCall really need to talk. She's actually out in Florida in Fort Lauderdale. Um, she's a huge She does it differently. I mean, obviously, most divers, I think, are uh, conscious of conservation at heart. Some do a little more than others. Some have different ways they do theirs. But one thing I really just noticed about how she's gone about the kind of work she does and is a lot of breaking it down to understand the different ways that it can apply to pretty much anybody, even non-divers. So, finding alternative ways to make more of an impact is something I think you guys will have a blast talking about. I'll definitely do the hookup after this and connect you guys if you don't know each other already.
I actually had, she's who I had in mind when I said there were scientists out there.
Oh,
I
okay.
sent her a
That's
message.
awesome.
She told me to check out her podcast, and I
Nice.
have. Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
Yeah, she's cool. And yeah, we all just kind of try to do it in all the different ways that we can.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that like divers are doing this right now. Like I feel like there's so many divers, and we are the people that like care about the environment, but I don't know, we were just too busy like diving or like doing other things that like we weren't talking about it. But now like we're kind of like have the opportunity to spearhead some kind of huge movement. I'm not totally sure what it is.
Hmm. And it's good to rub minds with, talk to folks with similar mindsets or even different mindsets sometimes to get closer to how you as a person or how something you start up can really make an impact with that. That's great. I'm also honestly trying to figure it out myself in that facility. Like I do the basic things as best as I can, but I also have other priorities. So I have great respect for anyone, like yourself, that's really actively doing it and getting things done and looking to broaden that and make more happen. So good,
Yeah,
great stuff, man. Loving that.
heck yeah. There's you ever seen that other one, Chasing Coral?
Yes. That was the one about the bleaching of the corals, especially around Australia, right? The Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
Yeah, they teamed up with Force Blue and just put out some like super simple things that people can do. Talking about like one drop of sunscreen, like pool, would cause damage to coral reef that was also in that pool.
Hmm.
So just talking about like how we need like reef safe products, or not even like sunscreen at all. Like I mean, you look like a pretty tan guy,
You know,
but I don't use.
I don't use a lot of sunscreen. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, but neither do I, and obviously I don't have as fair skin, but just like a long sleeve shirt, me and my
Hmm.
lady have found out like if we want to spend a long time at the beach, like I got to put on a shirt because I can get burned in this sun. So it's just, but like I still see people just lather it up, even like before a dive, they're like lather it up. I'm like, you're gonna be in the sun for 20 minutes, then you're gonna get in the water. Like I just don't really. It's like in their earlobes, and I don't understand it.
It's like
And
relax. Just put on your your
or
oh
like
that's
sit underneath the boat. Yeah, but those are some like simple things that I guess like I thought they were so simple that everyone was doing them, but apparently we need to spread that word.
and every little bit counts. There's another great person in Miami. I think you guys will have a great conversation. Rose Santana. She's a super smart, like marine biologist, molecular. She's super smart, but she's pragmatic with conservation and the impact or the cause and effect in everyday life. Just things like I don't know, run in a shower for 40 minutes. She can like break down exactly why what every 10 extra minute does to the system and how that impacts the water in the city and how that impacts the water in the ocean. And from that kind of conversation, there's so many just takeaways and little things that could count. That's another person I think you definitely got to talk to. Rose Santana, she's pretty cool. In Miami too. She's based at she's in Miami, so based out of Florida too.
Yeah.
That's that's
Nice.
pretty cool. Now, any questions before we go on? Because I want to ask you about your favorite dives, but I want to see if you have any questions before we go into the reaction videos.
I don't know, man. I don't really know that much about you. I guess I could learn a little bit more from other podcasts, but
That's, I'm not the exciting one. You guys are. That's why I talk more about you than about myself. um, Let me see. Let me give you a quick rundown. So I live in California. I've lived around most of the Northeast, Connecticut to New York to DC to Philly. Um, then California the last what year are we? 2021. Last decade or so, almost. Um, Travel when I can, but when I moved to California, I've always wanted to dive. I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria. Between like 6 and 12, I was back and forth England. So I've been around quite a bit. That's why you probably can't pick one distinct accident because I just picked up a bunch of random things from so many different places. Um, but a lot of the things I wanted to be able to just, drive from my front door to go do like sailing or scuba diving or whatever it is. It can be done anywhere else. But I started doing a lot of that when I moved to California. I don't know why it just really happened. The stars just kind of aligned. I started sailing a lot. I was spending a lot of time underwater, and then it reminded me that oh yeah, I did. I wanted to scuba dive when I was a kid, and someday just kind of went up and signed up. I really thought I was just going to do my open water, maybe do it on vacation or something. Next thing you know, I was kind of doing it every weekend, and sure, I'll take the night trucks. Yeah, I'll take the advanced too. Oh, there's rescue. I'm a master scuba diver. Oh, but that doesn't really mean anything. Okay, I'll do the dive master program. And really, that's how I've been kind of doing it. And yeah, and it's one of the things that really motivates me for travel these days because with travel, I don't necessarily care to go see monuments and things like that. I just kind of, yeah, I don't know. I can just Google it. So I spend a lot of time thinking about diving, talking about diving, and doing other things too. I'm also an actor. I am ramping up on a media production company. I am a tech contractor. Yeah, I'm a dad. There's family life too, but I spend a fair amount of time thinking about diving or talking about diving. And that's how this podcast started, actually.
I
Hey, what do you
dig
think?
it. I do the same. It's just like if I have the concept in my head, then I need to find someone to teach it to. And if I
Yeah.
don't have it like worked out in my head, then I need to like find someone to talk about it with and be like, or just like sit there and think. I'm like, hmm, how can I get better at holding my breath? Or
Yeah.
you know,
And it's cool because you go to, you do, and that's a cool thing with dives. Like, there, every dive is a cool dive, they say. We all agree, right? But some dives are just essentially boring. However, doing those kind of dives, I go, let's see how it works if I do my front kick. But I mean, I know how it works. I'm just giving a bad example with one foot at a certain angle. Let's see how much I can rotate horizontally. Let's kind of work on my buoyancy. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to go on a dive, just pretty shallow and try this out and do this the entire time. Yeah, we are a certain kind of crazy divers, I think.
it's just like a cool activity, man. Like the fact, like you said, like we're basically astronauts. I mean, we're not, but like it's a difficult challenge, and there's just like so much fine tuning you can do with like gear, your own abilities, your knowledge, and like it's just like cool to be able to like mess with that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, there's so much diving available. You can never be, no matter how experienced you get, there's always room for some kind of improvement or some kind of growth. And that's one of the cool things about this. Um, and I think we are cooler than astronauts, pure and simple. I mean, they may have PhDs and be former Navy fighters, jet fighters, but I think divers are the coolest. That's all.
I think so too, dude. There's something about water that does it for me. Just like it's hard to explain. But I could just dive if I had my own pool. I would just dive in a pool like all the time.
So cool.
Like one
So
of those.
cool. Let's see. You do now. You get these shark teeth, and a lot of them you got in Venice, right? Just at home in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Some good necklaces.
That's pretty cool.
But I had to find something stretchy, so I could take it off. Well, actually, I don't take these off when I dive, but
That's awesome.
easy to remove.
Well, I gotta say, man, it's been fun getting coffee with you, Mike. Super
Yeah,
happy we got to connect. Looking forward to how we're gonna connect in the future, collab and whatever. We talked about a bunch of things today. I'm glad you got to come on and I got to know a lot about you. You got to know a little bit about me, but over time I tend to unwind and open up. But you're the more interesting diver here, so let's. Glad you came. Glad you came on, and looking forward to doing this again, either in person or some other way soon.
yeah, dude. I appreciate you taking the time to have a conversation with me.
Anytime, brother. Where can we find you online? What are your go-to social media?
IG works. I'm kind of on all of them, but yeah, Spiked out Healy.
All right, there we go.
Hit me
I
up.
think I have it up actually here. So
I'll send you a personalized video message to say what up.
awesome. There you go. Cool stuff. Thank you, brother. Thanks for coming up. Looking forward to chatting and talk to you soon. This has been another Divers Getting Coffee.
Peace.
Peace.